What's going on YouTube? It's Alex here with Present Moment Photographs today, and we're talking about astrophotography, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about some basics and how in just a few simple steps you can be taking pictures like these. So these are a few of the pictures I've taken of the stars over the past couple months, and I always used to be really intimidated by this kind of stuff, but I found that it's really not very hard at all. With just a few simple, easy tips, you too can be taking photos like these. Alright, so the first step is to have a tripod and a release shutter or a delayed shutter. So the first thing is you need a tripod because the camera cannot move during this process. Otherwise, the stars in the image will be blurry and moved around as well. So just have a tripod, put the camera on the tripod. Pretty basic, pretty easy. And then having a remote or delayed shutter is huge too because you don't want any sort of shake at all from the camera when you push the shutter button or the button to take the picture. And so having a remote release is really helpful. That's what I use. But if you don't have that, if your camera has like a built-in 2-second or 10-second delay, you could use that as well because when you hit the button, the camera won't actually start to take the picture until 2, 5, 10 seconds later, and that way you don't have to worry about the camera moving. Alright, so step number 2 for this is to use manual focus and focus on one of the stars and turn your focus dial until that star is as small as possible. And you'll notice when you're looking through the viewfinder that it's blown out, it's blurry, it's big, and you don't maybe want to go all the way to infinity, but it'll be close, and you just want to get that star as small and sharp as possible. And then once you have that, you want to leave your camera in the manual focus, get it set up on the tripod, and you're ready to start taking some pictures once you get your settings set up. Alright, so now is the third step, which is the settings you want on your camera for the picture. So first is aperture, and that's how open the lens is, how much light it's going to let in. And you're going to want the lowest aperture that your lens goes. And a big myth, I don't know if it's a myth or not, but I always used to think you needed like a 1.8 or 2.8 to shoot astro, but I've taken plenty of astrophotographies with the kit lens that came with my camera that only has a lowest aperture of 3.5. So if that's all you have, you can still take really nice star images. So you want your aperture as low as possible, no matter what. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is go adjust your shutter speed. And since you want to be letting in more light to the camera, it's going to be a longer shutter speed, and the general rule is a 500 rule. Some people even use 300, but for example, the 500 rule, I take the number 500 and I divide it by my focal length, which in my case is 18. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. And then that gives me I believe it is 27, around 27 seconds. And that lets me know that that's the longest time I can take an image without getting star trails, which is where the stars actually start to move over, 30 seconds or so. But for me, I find anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds works really well. And settings with Astro are something you can play around with, but a general rule of thumb, try 10, try 15 seconds. And then the final setting is ISO, and that's something I just adjust at the end accordingly, and it just really depends. It can be anywhere from 800 to 6400 or even higher, but I'll adjust the other two settings and I adjust ISO accordingly. And I just would recommend y'all play around with that, right? I don't have a specific number to give you. I would say start with maybe 3200. If it's too bright, you can lower it. If it's not bright enough, raise it. But those really are the 3 tips, and that's crazy, right? 3 simple things, and you can take amazing astrophotography images. And I'll make another video as well, more in depth on astrophotography if you all want to get some more information and details on how that all works and whatnot. Those are just 3 basic tips to start with to get y'all started on taking amazing pictures. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to the video if this is something you found useful and you want to see more maybe in-depth and detailed information. Also, if you do go to my website, which I'll link down below, I have a written out detailed page on astrophotography, which is similar to just what I explained in this video, but there's some more stuff in there if you want to see that. And Yeah, thank you for coming by, hanging out, and watching the video. And like I said, I hope you got something out of it and enjoyed.